Alright, what's good everybody? Welcome to Forgotten Favorites Fridays, and today we're talking about, as you can see, Year of the Rabbit, and this is a band that released just for, this album, one EP called the Hunted EP, and this one album, and fans of Failure know them, but they're forgotten by pretty much everyone else, and newer fans of Failure probably don't even know that this band existed. So of course this is well, Ken Andrews did a project after Failure called On, but other than what they did live with the band, On was pretty much just a studio kind of almost experiment for Ken, and the first one was very electronic and kind of insular, and it had some poppy hooks, definitely. He knows how to write a good hook, but it was definitely a more electronic affair, and some Failure fans really didn't like it. The next one was more kind of poppy, folky, singer-songwriter, I guess, more than folk. And that one, I think, was only available on CD Baby, and I slept on that one, so I never did get that one. So those didn't do quite as well as anyone hoped. They were commercial disappointments. Really only the hardcore Failure fans would have bought them. So basically what Andrews did is he got together with his touring drummer Tim Dow, and who was in Shiner. He was also in Season to Risk, but Shiner is his big claim to fame, in my opinion at least. And also Tim's friend Jeff Garber, who is a member of National Skyline, who are a pretty amazing group actually. He did the lead guitar and the backing vocals for them, and he was also in Castor. And then someone who I wasn't quite as familiar with, though his name did come up on one release I remember hearing back in the day, Solomon Snyder, bass and background vocals, and he was formerly of Cupcakes and Dovetail Joint, not Ducktail Joint. So basically, Year of the Rabbit was more of a getting back into a hard rock lane, I guess, and it's similar to Failure, but it's not quite as spacey and science fiction laden and obsessed with movies and stuff like that. It's definitely more of like a true rock record. There's less kind of druggy lyrics, and it's a little more straightforward. A lot of the choruses are a lot more straightforward, and some of them border on repetitious. Though those are some of the best ones, in my opinion. Repetition is fine. And I still find even a song like Rabbit Hole that's pretty straight ahead. It's got a really nice crunch to it. I like the production on here, actually. It's little more crunchy than Failure. Got a little more of a sheen, like they were trying to get it radio ready. But yeah, a song like Rabbit Hole is pretty straightforward rock, but you still get a couple lyrical lines in the verses that kind of do remind me of Failure a lot. And Ken's voice had not faltered a bit since his Failure days. And it's aged now, but and a lot of reviews said that when Hard as a Monster came out by Failure, but I don't know, I think it's still pretty good. And when I saw them live 8 years ago, it still held up in my opinion. So yeah, it starts with Rabbit Hole, which is just a banger, so good right out of the gate. Lie Down also has a repetitious chorus. It's got a softer, more acoustic-laden verses, but it's a good one too. It gets stuck in your head. Last Defense, which had a video actually, albeit a kind of poor one, but great song, another highlight. And then Strange Eyes and Absent Stars. It's kind of like My Poor Brain and Wind Up off Foo Fighters' record, their second one, in that I cannot play one without playing the other. You gotta play them in succession. Even though this isn't a concept album by any means, they just go hand in hand because of the way they kind of dip into each other. The transition is very well done. And Vaporize is great, especially the final minute of it. It really soars. And other than Hunted, I think it takes a little bit of a knock in quality, but none of these songs are bad, and none of them I would rate below 3.5 or 4 on a good day out of 5. And a lot of people's favorite is Say Goodbye, so I can completely respect that. And Say Goodbye kind of reminds me in places of Daylight from Fantastic Planet, which makes sense, of course, but they have a very, they're a final statement on the record. And Ken Andrews, I mean, him and Greg, it was kind of equal, their songwriting and their composition in Failure, but Greg said that Daylight was all Ken. Like, he just played on it, and Ken did everything else. So, of course, Ken, being as talented as he is, sorry, I'm struggling with words today, but maybe I'm just too amazed. He produced and mixed this, and he engineered it with Jeff Garber, so, yeah. And, of course, it's an enhanced CD, because all the CDs from this era where I remember when, Hail to the Thief came out by Radiohead, and that was enhanced, and all these other CDs were Chevelle and everything that was popular at the time. That photo sesh makes them look like they're way younger than they are, and I think they probably dressed them in the clothes and said, could you put some highlights in your hair? I want you guys to look like one of the young, popular bands. But yeah, it's a great little chapter or a side note in the Failure or National Skyline kind of discography. If you're a fan of those groups, check this out. If you're a fan of Shiner or anything from that era, really. Anything alt-rock, I guess, from that era. Anyway, it's a great Ken Andrews project. It's not as great as the classic Failure records, specifically magnified in Fantastic Planet, but it still holds up, and everything Ken did was pretty great in my opinion. That guy never faltered. And even though his bands were kind of commercial failures or disappointments, pun intended there, failures, the quality is all so high on these things. So one I still need to get for the collection is Replicants, actually, which is what he did with Greg Andrews, and it was a cover group named after the Blade Runner Replicants. And they even got help from a couple of the Tool members. Maynard sings on one of the songs, and they're covering the Cars and Paul McCartney, and there's some great ones on there, Pink Floyd and stuff like that. And then this was the EP, which came out before the record. And this has 2 non-LP tracks on it. Burn, which is decent, and I Want to Be Adored, which was great and actually helped me discover Stone Roses. So props to Ken and the boys, because I probably wouldn't have found them for a few more years, as they're not as popular in North America as they are overseas in the UK. So, and this is going to be some big blasphemy, but for years I actually liked, well, maybe for a year, and then I became a Stone Roses huge fan, but for about a year I liked this I Want to Be Adored more than the Stone Roses themselves, and now I'm kind of like, what was I thinking? But it's a really good cover, though, and this was only available on CD Baby, and kind of like that On one I just mentioned. CD Baby, their website, which is defunct for like 15 years now, and I think Amazon Music, or I can't remember what it is, but thankfully I snagged one off CD Baby. Yeah, so if you remember Year of the Rabbit, by all means, leave a comment about it, and yeah, I think this is the epitome of a forgotten favorite. So if you ever find this in a, used store, or what do they call that? Not a garage sale, a boot sale or whatever? Yeah, or a thrift store, pick it up. Anyway, got some more videos coming next week, including one that is quite related to what I'm talking about right now. So, peace out, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.